Hey now, and we are live and ready and to jump in with another episode of the Vision Visionary. And I have the amazing Alexis Roberts. I'm gonna let her introduce herself and give you a little bit of who she is.
Oh my goodness. My name is Julieian-Alexis Roberts, and I happen to be the founder of a women's ministry called Campaign P31. We say that it's a platform for women who have decided to live life chosen and set apart. And primarily what I do is I help coach women. I walk them through their journey of forgiveness, self-forgiveness, forgiving others, forgiving God. We typically find that people have a struggle with one of those three areas. And so I have the distinct honor of being able to walk women through a 6-week masterclass. And it's so much joy. It brings so much joy to my world. I absolutely love it. That's what I do for the most part. There's a lot of other things, but that's it in a nutshell.
And I love that. And so just this year, you wear multiple hats and well, I know you personally, but you wear so much hats. But what's your word for January? Well, not January, for this entire year, 2023.
My word for 2023 is yes again. It's a two-parter. Yes again. So, I think God has had me on a journey of obedience for a while now. Mm-hmm. And so the first time I gave him a yes, I thought of the old song that the saints used to sing, and my answer will be yes, Lord, yes. But there's a part in that song that I'll say, yes, Lord, yes, to your will and to your way, right? I'll say yes to you. Yeah. I'll trust you and obey. When your spirit speaks to me with my whole heart, I'll agree. And my answer will be yes. That's the part that we're focusing on. I've already said yes, and it's a continuation, but the will be. So I had to look at this year and all the things that the Lord has guided me through up to this point. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I needed to recommit. And so I needed to say yes yet again to allow him to continue to guide me the way that he always has.
Mm-hmm. That yes again is literally everything, because we just skim through and it's like, okay, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that yes
again. Even when it hurts. Like I gave it at a time where I literally had nothing, like nothing in hand, nothing in bank account, nothing, like standing on a treadmill in the gym. And he just dropped it on me. And I was like, okay, yes, again. I mean, it's kind of like, it's not a gamble when you're banking on God. It's not a gamble. But if I were in Vegas, it would be like, ooh.
Right.
This last roll. That's all I got. That's all
roll. I got. Honestly, that's a yes again, that gamble, but it comes with a lot of promises on the other side.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. His word is certain, that for sure. I know it's just a matter of time. So you just have to be steadfast in the meantime.
Amen to that. And so that leads into share with us a little bit more of your ministry. Through your blog Campaign P31. You touched on that a little bit more of the mentorship and the launch of the Noble Character Ministries.
Well, you know what? It's so funny. I never thought I was going to go into full-time women's ministry. That was not what I had in mind at all. I literally stumbled into this. About 6 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And the Lord had been dealing with me probably, I would say, about 5 or 6 months prior to that. Like I could sense that he was calling me up to go and do things in a different way, to kind of like seek him and dig my heels in a little bit more than I had ever done in my adult life. I think I was so focused on being married and having a kid that I just really was career driven, and I wasn't really as spiritually grounded as I should have been. Mm-hmm. But I could tell that he was upsetting my year. He kept disturbing it and doing things. First, it was like the rock. First it was the pebble, then it was the rock, then it was the brick. And I was like, oh, wait, before the brick wall. I'm cool. Wait, what you want, Lord?
Right,
And
right.
so that's literally how it started. Just him prompting me by getting my attention. I remember that year I was, it was my last year of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And it became my last year of teaching because of this. I remember I was so stressed, so anxiety filled when we started the school year. I feel like in my spirit, I probably should not have started the school year, but I didn't know what else to do. And I didn't have the courage to step out on faith yet. It was all still developing. I think I got sick with a hernia randomly and had to go out on like surgery leave in October. By December, I came back. You know, if you're a teacher and you take off a month, it's like during the holiday seasons for the kids, they're missing so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think by the time the new year came, I was just like done. Like, what in the world is going on with my life? So I continued to kind of pray and lean into this thing. And I saw this one episode of, I think it was like Oprah's Masterclass or something. And it had this commentary or this documentary about the hero's journey and how they go on this different path. And if they accept if they accept the assignment, so to speak, they go through a season where they're going to be okay at the end, but they have to go through a series of different events. And I was so intrigued. I was like, God, I feel like you kind of have me on this quest right now.
Okay.
And so I kind of leaned in. What did you say?
You keep pivoting and make it.
Yeah. And so then finally I get to probably April or March, and I'm starting to hear things in my head, which I thought I was tripping, but it was really the Holy Spirit that was talking to me. He was giving me insight on things that I had never experienced that before, an audible voice in my head, to the point where the last crazy thing that I heard was like, your mom is sick in her stomach. And when I heard it, I was sitting in my desk in my classroom, and the sound of the voice scared me so bad, I fell out of my chair in my classroom. And then I called my pastor's wife immediately. And I was like, oh, can you just hear me for 1 second? Let me tell you what I just heard, and just hold that in your mental Rolodex. I don't know what to do with it yet.
Yeah.
So by this point, I had already, at that very moment, I wrote the last sentence of my resignation letter, and I submitted it. And I had about maybe about a month to work toward the end, which was spring break. But you know, it's forbidden as a teacher to break your contract mid-year. You're like, it's really frowned upon. And so I was like, really, oh, my reputation. And I'm thinking, like, if I ever go back to the classroom, they're going to say you're a has-been type teacher, you know, all these things.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, I would never need to be concerned with that again, because the Lord had a totally different plan in mind. So I left a spring break exactly 2 weeks to that Friday. My mom calls me. My brother is currently, at the time, he was at UCLA. And so she says, I need you to go pick up your brother. It's April 1st, 2016. And she says, I need you to go get your brother. I need to talk to you guys. And I was like, ha ha, funny. April Fools. I'm not driving to Brentwood on a Friday on the 405 freeway. Gotcha. Not doing it, Mom. Like,
Not how
I was so like, you're not getting me. My mother was a prankster. So I was just kind of like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I got 2 little kids in the car, rush hour traffic in LA. I'm laughing, Mom. It's funny already. I'm laughing. And she was like, no, seriously, I need you to go get your brother. And I was like, okay. So I drove, picked him up. We get to my brother, and then she announces that she was like, I have cancer. And in that moment, I remember what the Lord told me when she said she was sick in her stomach, and I didn't know. There was no other way for me to know. I hadn't been talking to her. I hadn't been like, you know, I didn't know she was going to the doctor. I had no way of knowing. I was so frozen. My brother falls out on the floor and all these things. And I'm trying to get him together, get him back into his dormitory. I get myself in the car. My kids are in the car with me, but I'm starting to have an emotional breakdown, like in the car. But I'm stuck in traffic now. So I'm stuck in the car with the kids, can't emote. So I call my pastor's wife again. And she says, put the phone to your ear. And she starts praying to me, praying like over me, like in my ear, so the kids can't hear what she's saying. And another minister from the church at the time is texting me prayers. So I'm not supposed to be reading and driving, but I was.
Yeah, but you were stuck in traffic though.
I was stuck in traffic. I wasn't really.
Oh, hey.
And so the next day, which was Saturday, the women's ministry met, but the Lord was like, it's time for you to document this. And I started the blog. And when I started the blog, I just, considered documenting the journey that I had gone on that year so far. And then that turn of events, and then documenting what that would be. And I named it Campaign P31. I was a political science major in undergrad. And so, urban politics is a little different, but nonetheless, the whole idea of campaigning around being a Proverbs 31 woman was really kind of where the name came from. And from there, over time, it just morphed into other things. It morphed into me teaching classes and writing content and marriage content and women's content. And then during that same time, I didn't know much about the Bible the way that I know now, but he took me from praise and worship team and planted me in the children's ministry, where I coupled my classical training in terms of teaching with the word of God. And there in the back, in the children's ministry, I learned the Bible forward and back, because literally in the 6 years that I spent there, I went through the Bible in its entirety twice. And so that was seminary for me, teaching the children. And so fast forward to Noble Character Ministries. Well, when you look at certain translations of Proverbs 31, it says the wife of noble character. Actually, recently, I was just looking into this from a commentary's perspective, that list that many women have been using as a checklist for themselves was actually a search list for men to be able to look for women who were who possessed these qualities when they got ready to get married, as they were looking and searching for a wife of noble character. And so, listen, you better free yourself. Like, it is not a personal checklist. He's supposed to be looking for you. Miss ShenikaAG, we're going to say that prophetically. No.
Okay. I'll claim it. Give me that. But
give me that.
Anybody who sees that word.
Listen.
That's for you.
Send him to Proverbs 31. Send him, not her. Send him. Right. But so that's literally how it started. And from the classes, from the courses, then in recent years, 2020, when the world shut down, we did our first conference, but we did it virtually. And that was totally spirit driven. I literally finished a 21-day fast, and right after, the Lord said, go. And I said, go? I don't have a plan on paper, not a nothing. He was like, I will show you how. That voice was so audible in my head that we just started moving, asking people, doing stuff, turn left, turn right, do this, ask this person, do this, partner with this person, see if you can get the equipment here, boom, 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 boom. Next thing I know, we did an entire conference virtually. The next year, it rolled over into what you now have heard about, Beauty and Forgiveness, which is our 6-week masterclass. And so what year is that? Go back. 2022 is when we launched Beauty and Forgiveness. And so with that, it's been pretty cool. We only do it like twice a year. So the women have to get in where they fit in. It's very intimate, and God has just been unfolding it little by little, Books have come now. Now we're on the precipice of publishing our first book. And just little by little, listening to the voice of the Lord and let him lead, it's just developed. And it has become a women's ministry, but it wasn't always that. It was literally like, I just wanted to write, So
to see how that vision just comes into like something that we can't imagine for ourselves, like a God thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I had no vision for this way. It was all inspired every step of the way. Once I did one thing, he did the next thing. And so that's really how it was.
So let's lead into, you touched on a little bit more of the Proverbs 31 and those little checklists, but let's talk about self-love
Okay.
and how you balance that. Your wife, your mom, you're also a student pursuing your doctorate,
Yes.
global
I am.
leadership. So how are you balancing all of those responsibilities, those hats, those little checklists?
Oh man, checklists. They are the bane of my existence. It's I wish I had some really, really well put together answer for you. It is at times it's cool, and then at times it's chaotic, right? Chaos sometimes comes in when you have to surrender to God's leading. It's chaotic to me because I'm a planner, right? And I like knowing what's coming next and all the things. But God doesn't work like that. Faith doesn't work like that. So you have to, the surrender is the fight. It's the tension. It's like, just let it go already. And most of the time, the way my fights go with God is I hold on until finally I'm tired. I'm like, okay, you know? So in terms of getting things done, I am a wife, I am a mom. I work from home now. I run my own ministry from home, but while I'm home, I also homeschool my youngest daughter, or my only daughter, but my youngest. I homeschool her, and basically I just try to take it in chunks because bite-sized chunks are more easily manageable for me. So because I work on East Coast time for business, I literally get up about 3 a.m. and I work from 3 to about 7:30 or 8. And I host things on the East Coast, and then I host things on LA time around 5:30 in the morning. My kids get up and go to school. The oldest is out of the house by 6:30 in the morning. I stopped to just drop him off at the bus stop real fast. And then the youngest one, I start her schooling around 9. And then maybe 9 to 1 or 2, we're pretty much finished. I'm done. She's done. It's like, okay, we've had enough, right? And then after 2 is really my time. It's, I take an hour or so, maybe 90 minutes, clean up the house real fast to make sure that when my husband comes home, everything is right, dishes are right, laundry's taken care of, beds are made, house, trash is out, like all the things that we do to maintain a house. After that, I still away. My me time is like talking with my friends or my business partners and like hashing things out and getting ahead of things so that I don't have to stress out about stuff. But then also working ahead. Like that time is while I'm talking to them on the phone, I'm cooking dinner, right? I'm getting it done.
Multitasking.
Listen. I put that phone inside my cabinet and I'm talking. I'm like washing dishes. Yep. Trying to get it all done. So that when my husband and my son walk in, they walk into a warm house with food on the table. I think there's something so special about that. My mother, I don't know how she did it, but she always made sure that when we walked in the evening, that there was a meal on the table, or there was plans on a meal coming through the door, Postmates, however you want to do it, whatever your ministry is. And then the evening time, I typically take for myself. I'll steal away to my office like this, and I'll take 2 or 3 hours and decompress, light a candle, have a cup of tea, and read through the content that I have to read for school. Typically, it's not like, graduate school is different this time around in that it's just a lot of reading. It's a lot of reading. Anybody if you're not ready to read, don't do your doctorate.
Read or write.
The writing too. Yeah, definitely. But you do have pauses in the writing. Like, you read in order to write. And so I think my day typically ends I pull the plug around 10:30 max. I'm not a night owl, but I am an early riser. So in order for me to get ample amount of sleep, I'm typically in bed by 10. And so, if I just I have this little board that kind of helps guide me. I typically do 3 major things a day. Beyond that, I'm no good. Like I can't see 7 things on a list. It won't work.
That's good.
Because multitasking, last thought, multitasking is not a real thing. It's not real. It's a figment of our imagination.
Right.
I'll fight anybody on that. It's not real.
It's all how you can juggle it. It's small chunks, right? Small chunks.
I just noticed that as I've gotten older, my brain can't do it. Like, so just focus on one thing and do it in excellence, and then go to the next thing. And so keeping the list short. Yeah. I used to have those long lists, but what I did was I took the long list and I turned it this way and take 3 things, the top 3, then the next day, then the next day, then the next day, to spread it out. So I don't feel overwhelmed.
Right. That works. And that's some tips and some nuggets. Y'all need a project management system or a type of organization.
Yeah. Yeah, because you want to last over time. It's a marathon, not a race, not a sprint. Yeah. And when you find that your mind is feeling foggy or you're constantly overwhelmed and maybe hyper emotional, it's because you're off balance. So have you eaten? Have you rested well? That's another thing. We could talk about that, but I don't know if you want to, but
no, let's dive into it.
I'm a serial napper.
Hey.
Like, I take naps all the time.
I'll be honest, I nap too. I'll learn how to nap and take 10 minutes if I need to.
Oh, yeah.
Those little breaks, those 15-minute breaks.
Yeah. That and Sabbath. Like, I really, 1 day a week. I just need 1 day a week. And I have to stay in balance, because if I don't, I will start snapping on people. I'll snatch an edge in a second.
I feel you.
So you want mommy happy? Give mommy 1 whole day by herself. Just
a little hangry, maybe. Nothing wrong with that. And so that leads to our last question is, where can people follow you and connect to gain more tips on applying, God's word to our daily lives and living a full purpose?
Oh my gosh. Probably the best way to find me is Instagram. If you just want to, chat or see what I'm doing. I post a lot of like little reels and things like that, just encouragement. If you just need something real fast, you can go to Instagram and find me at campaign P31. And if you want something a little more lengthy, like you got time for a quick Bible study or a lesson, you can find me at Julieian-Alexis on YouTube. And there you will find old sermons, old teachings that I've had, some content probably from previous conferences and things like that, just little words about different things. A lot of stuff that I posted during the pandemic, just to keep women encouraged and supported, so that they would know that they weren't alone in the process of parenting and wifing and lifing and all the other things.